because of the benefits that we discussed so far. So coming to the next part of the session is on agile methods and approaches. We will first discuss on Scrum methodology a little bit. What is the essence of Scrum and what are the key advantages of Scrum and what are the things that you need to take care while adopting the Scrum. If you look at the Scrum team always move as one unit. If you look at these pictures on the left hand side, so they're all sequential progress and the roles are not clearly mentioned here. The accountability and ownership issues are there when the roles are not clearly defined. Okay, and whereas here, since entire team move as one unit, the accountability is entire team is accountable and ownership entire ownership lies with the entire team. It's not that one person is away from the team's way of working. So everybody move as one unit. The essence of Scrum is whatever activities in Scrum, they are all planned in a time box, and whatever features or requirements that needs to be adhered, that will be delivered at the end. Based on the acceptance to the customer, they will be delivered at the end of the time box. So whatever the Scrum team is going to do, they will put their activities in the time box. Normally this time box will vary from 1 to 4 weeks. So that means they will not go more than 4 weeks. There won't be any working software that gets extended beyond 4 weeks. If at all they have to deliver something working within this time box between 1 to 4 weeks. Okay, so in order to do that, the Scrum team first they commit what they want to deliver at the end of the time box, and once they commit, they start working in the time box, and in the end they deliver the working software which will be inspected by the customer, and the feedback whatever the customer gives is taken and adapted in the subsequent time box. One important thing is the team will not get impacted from the changes what customer gives. So how means if any change comes when the team is working in the time box, those changes will be taken only those changes will not be entertained and they will be only incorporated in the subsequent time box. So that way whatever team has committed, they will not get disturbed from their commitment, and if any change customer wants to give, we will not say that you please don't give the changes. Of course you can give the changes, but we will incorporate only in the subsequent time boxes. So that's the essence of Scrum, and any learnings in each time box is taken as a learnings and adapted in the subsequent time boxes. So normally the Scrum team will be 7 members, -2 and +2, and as I said, the duration of the iteration will be 1 to 4 weeks. At the end of the iteration, they will deliver something working software. Okay, so it has which is shippable, and all the requirements comes from the person called product owner, who takes the inputs from various stakeholders and comes out with prioritized list of requirements, which is called as product backlog, and these requirements will be in the form of user stories. The user stories are a smaller requirements, and they won't be a bigger requirements like use cases. There will be smaller functionalities or smaller work which adds value to the customer when they are delivered. So, and all the requirements are split in the form of user stories, and the product backlog is prioritized from the top user story to the last user story, and by default the team has to deliver the first user story in the first iteration. In Scrum we call it as sprint. Okay, and the team selects how much they can do in this from the product backlog, how many user stories they can take. based on their velocity, and they comes out with the tasks that are needed to implement that user story, like designing requirements and gathering, designing, coding, testing, unit testing, regression testing, things like that. They identify the task, allocate the responsibilities, and identify how much time each task in terms of hours would take, and they'll have a sprint plan ready. They'll do a iteration sprint planning in the beginning of the sprint, and once the sprint plan is ready, they start working, and at the end of the sprint they'll deliver working software, which will be reviewed by the product owner and his team. And product owner will review whether the team is adhering to his expectations, and if it is not, then the inputs are given to the team, which will be which will be implemented in the subsequent sprints. And every day there will be 15 minutes daily stand-up meetings where every team member in Scrum they present and discuss 3 things. Each team member has to report just 3 things rather than discussing everything. He has to just report what he did from yesterday to today, and second, what is he going to do from today to tomorrow. The third, is there anything blocking for today to tomorrow to accomplish his work. So these 3 things has to be reported by each and every team member in the daily stand-up meeting, which helps team to take the stock of the situation and to know any impediments for that days of work, for that day. And entire Scrum is development in Scrum is moderated and facilitated by a person called Scrum Master. So this is about Scrum. So what are the benefits of Scrum? Advantage of Scrum is because we deliver something working software at the end of the sprint, we are delivering to the product owner what are the functions that have got value to the customer. Then focus is more on team communications, okay, rather than following one person following a heavy written document approach. So because team is communicating each other on daily basis, everybody is in sync with each other. So the focus on team communication is very, very high. Because the frequent demonstration is happening and early feedback from stakeholders is taken, so that if the particular feature is not adhering to certain expectation, that open issues can be taken in the subsequent sprint and corrected. The teamwork, the spirit of the team is high, and the team gets the sense of accomplishment because they commit what they want to deliver at the end of the sprint. So what are the things that one has to remember when the Scrum is being used in the software development is, please, one should not think that sprint is a mini waterfall. So what is mini waterfall? It's like doing all requirements, design, implementation, testing in a mini waterfall approach. That means again doing in a sequential phase. So sprint is not like that. You don't do again requirement, design, implementation, testing sequentially. Everything is done concurrently on daily basis. So that is one thing. And whatever that is given to the customer must have expected quality and should demonstrate value to the product owner. The next, as and when in each sprint the team is delivering user stories, there are chances of open issues getting piled up. So the technical debt has to be taken care, and the defect buildup, the technical debt should not get increased as you go to the subsequent sprints. So that care has to be taken care. Okay, and thinking how the user stories in smaller value, making the requirements in smaller portion is something sometimes it's challenging, and that is a little bit an experience that comes by practicing more and more Scrum. And every sprint should have requirement, design, development and testing activities. You are not supposed to split these activities across the sprints.